Wealth isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by the person you become. That's the first rule the wealthy understand, and the first truth the broke often miss. See, if you spend your whole life running after money, it will always stay just a little out of reach. But if you spend your life becoming the kind of person money is drawn to, a person of value, of discipline, of vision, money will find its way to you. Because here's the truth. If your mind is broke, no paycheck can save you. You could hand someone $1 million, but if their habits, their beliefs, and their philosophy are still poor, they'll be broke again in no time. On the other hand, if your mind is wealthy, even a small amount of money can grow into a fortune. And every fortune begins quietly, not with a winning lottery ticket or a sudden windfall, but with a small choice, a small habit, a small act of respect for money. Today, we're going to talk about those choices, those habits, and those rules the wealthy live by. Daily disciplines that turn ordinary people into magnets for wealth. And by the end, you'll see it's not magic, it's mindset. When I look back on the early days of my life, I remember being one of those people who was always chasing money. I thought if I could just find the right job, the right break, the right something, the money would come and all my problems would be solved. But here's what I discovered. Money is shy. It runs away when you chase it. Money doesn't come simply because you want it. It doesn't care about your wishes, your dreams, or even your prayers. Money comes because you create something valuable enough that the world says, here, take this in exchange. This realization changed everything for me. I stopped asking, how can I make more money? And started asking, how can I create more value? That one question flipped my thinking upside down. Because the truth is, if you focus only on money, you'll always be desperate, you'll always be short, and you'll always be in pursuit. But if you focus on value, on solving problems, on easing burdens, on making life better for others, money stops being the thing you chase. It starts being the thing that chases you. Think of it this way. The world doesn't pay you for the hour, it pays you for the value you bring to that hour. Two people can work the same 8 hours, yet one earns $50 and the other earns $5,000. The difference isn't time, it's value. So the question becomes, how valuable can you become? I remember working for a man who was wealthy, truly wealthy. When I started, I was making very little, but I didn't complain. I decided to treat every hour as an investment in learning how he thought, how he built his fortune, how he treated his customers. And I noticed something fascinating. This man never talked about making money. He talked about serving. He'd say, how can we serve this client better? How can we make this process smoother? How can we offer something no one else is offering? And because his focus was on value, his rewards were inevitable. The world is full of people wanting more money. Very few are willing to become more valuable. The poor think, if only I had more money, I could do more. But the wealthy think, if I do more, if I give more, money will naturally follow. That's why you'll see someone start with nothing. Just an idea, just a skill, and in time they're earning millions. Not because they chased cash, but because they chased contribution. Here's what I learned. Every dollar you earn is proof you made someone's life a little better. If you solve a small problem, you'll earn small money. Solve a big problem, you'll earn big money. Solve it for one person, you get a check. Solve it for millions, you build an empire. And don't misunderstand, there's nothing wrong with wanting money. We all want it. But money should be the result of what you do, not the reason you do it. The moment you start asking, how can I give more? How can I do more? The math changes. If you're a teacher, how can you teach in a way that inspires students to think bigger? If you're a mechanic, how can you fix cars faster, safer, better than anyone else? If you're an employee, how can you bring so much initiative, creativity, and problem solving that your boss thinks, I can't afford to lose this person? Stop asking for more money. and start asking for more capacity. Build your skill, build your knowledge, build your ability to contribute. Become so valuable that people are lining up to pay for what you offer. Money doesn't come to the person who wants it most. It comes to the person who earns it most, not by hours, not by begging, but by becoming indispensable. The richest rewards will always chase the richest contribution. When I think back to my early years, before I ever saw real success, I realized something that might surprise you. I didn't need more money first. What I needed were better habits. See, here's what I discovered. Money magnifies who you are. If you're careless when you have $10, you'll be reckless when you have $10,000. If you're undisciplined when you're broke, more money won't fix that. It'll just make the chaos bigger. Money doesn't change you, it reveals you. That's why the first step isn't building wealth, it's building habits. Most people think, if only I made more, I'd save more. But that's a lie we tell ourselves. If you can't save $1 out of 10, you won't save 10 out of 100 or 1,000 out of 10,000. Because saving isn't about amounts, it's about mindset. I remember the days when I had just enough for rent and groceries, and I thought, when I finally earn big, I'll start being smart with my money. But one day, a mentor said something that hit me like a hammer. If you can't manage $100, why would the universe trust you with $100,000? That's when I started with the small things. I tracked every expense, I wrote down where every dollar went, and I made a simple promise to myself, no matter what I earned, I would save 10%. At first, that 10% felt impossible. Sometimes it was only a few coins, sometimes a crumpled bill. But here's the miracle. Those small acts of discipline started to shape me. Every time I saved instead of spending, I wasn't just building a bank account, I was building me. I was training myself to think long term, to delay gratification, to respect money instead of chasing it blindly. Habits are invisible at first. Nobody sees you writing down that $3 coffee or setting aside that $5 bill. But they notice later, when those tiny habits have turned into major results. Because wealth doesn't arrive suddenly like lightning. It grows like a tree. And the roots of that tree are your habits. Start small. Save a little, even if it's laughable at first. Track your spending, even if it feels tedious. Because what you do with $10 is exactly what you'll do with $10,000. If you learn to live with discipline before you have wealth, you'll be ready for it when it comes. If you don't, even a fortune will slip through your fingers. Wealth is built on habits long before it shows up in numbers. One of the most powerful shifts I ever made on my path to financial freedom was changing how I approach saving. It's simple but profound. The poor save what's left after spending, and the wealthy save first, no exceptions. This is not just a strategy, it's a mindset, a rule that separates those who stay trapped paycheck to paycheck from those who build lasting wealth. Most people live in a dangerous cycle. The money comes in, bills are paid, groceries are bought, and what's left, if anything, is saved. But here's the problem. What's left is often nothing. It's like trying to fill a bucket with water, but first poking holes in the bottom. If you wait to save until after spending, you're gambling with your future. Years ago, I realized this simple truth. Saving isn't an option or a choice, it's a priority. It's like paying rent on your future. Imagine if you paid your landlord only after the month was over, and only if money was left over. You'd be evicted quickly. So why do so many treat saving like an afterthought? Here's what I did, and what I teach others to do. Set up a system where a fixed percentage of every paycheck moves to savings before you even see it. Automate it. Make it invisible and untouchable. When money hits your account, 10 or 20% is already gone to your savings or investment account, and you live on what remains. This removes temptation and turns saving from a struggle into a habit. The money you don't see, you don't miss. And over time, this small, disciplined act compounds into a growing reservoir of wealth. I remember a friend of mine who struggled to save for years. Once he automated his savings, he was amazed how easy it was to live within his means. The constant fight with willpower disappeared. Instead, he focused on earning and building skills while his savings grew silently in the background. This practice isn't about deprivation. It's about ownership. You're owning your future by putting your savings first. And as those savings grow, your options, freedom, and confidence grow with them. If you want to change your financial destiny, don't wait to save what's left. Save first, spend later. Make your savings non-negotiable, automatic, and disciplined. Your future self will thank you. Remember, wealth doesn't come from what you earn. It comes from what you keep and how you protect it. Start saving first and watch your life transform. In the journey toward wealth, one of the greatest lessons I've learned is this: your skills are your most valuable assets, far more powerful than any stock or investment you might make. Before you rush to invest in the market or real estate, invest first in yourself, because your abilities, knowledge, and wisdom compound faster and last longer than any dollar could. Think about it for a moment. Money can come and go, markets rise and fall, but the skills you develop become a permanent part of you. When you sharpen your talents, learn new trades, and deepen your understanding, you increase your earning potential and open doors that money alone can't buy. This is the foundation of real financial freedom. Early in my own life, I discovered the impact of investing in personal growth. I had little money, but I spent what I had on books, seminars, and mentors. That small investment paid off exponentially over the years because it changed how I thought, how I worked, and how I seized opportunities. It built a foundation that no market crash could shake. The practical step is simple. Allocate a portion of your income, no matter how small, toward continuous learning. Buy that book, sign up for that course, attend that seminar, or find a mentor who can guide you. Think of it as planting seeds that will yield harvests far beyond what money alone could achieve. Remember, a dollar spent on developing your skills isn't an expense, it's an investment with compounding returns. Consider the great entrepreneurs and investors you admire. Their wealth isn't just luck or timing. It's the result of relentless self-education and skill building. They understood early that no amount of money could replace the value of a well-trained mind and honed abilities. So, before you focus solely on stocks, real estate, or businesses, focus first on yourself. Build skills that increase your value, create new opportunities, and empower you to generate wealth for a lifetime. Your mind is your greatest asset. Invest in it wisely, and the returns will astound you. When you commit to growing your skills, you become a magnet for opportunity, and money follows naturally. Wealth built on knowledge and ability is sustainable, resilient, and truly yours. Make investing in yourself a daily habit, and watch how every dollar you earn starts working harder because it's backed by a sharper, wiser you. There's a fundamental difference in how wealthy people and those struggling financially think about money. And it comes down to one simple idea: buy assets, not status. It sounds straightforward, but it's one of the most powerful distinctions in the world of wealth building. Too many people fall into the trap of buying things that don't serve them financially, but only serve to impress others. Fancy cars, designer clothes, the latest gadgets, these things often look like success on the outside, but inside, they quietly drain your resources. They create expenses, not income, and leave you trapped in a cycle of working harder just to maintain appearances. In contrast, wealthy individuals ask a very different question before spending money. Will this purchase grow in value, or will it shrink? They understand that true wealth is built by acquiring assets, things that produce income, appreciate over time, or both. Real estate, stocks, businesses, intellectual property, these are the things that add to your net worth and set you free financially. I remember when I first started out, I was tempted by the allure of status symbols. I wanted a nice car, a bigger house, things that made me look successful. But I quickly learned that chasing status without considering the financial impact was a fast track to staying broke. The money spent on liabilities was money that could have been invested in something that worked for me, something that created ongoing income or increased in value. The practical step is simple. Before you make any expensive purchase, pause and ask yourself, does this buy me freedom or does it buy me debt? Will it appreciate or depreciate? If it doesn't help build your wealth, it's probably costing you. Instead of spending on things that lose value, direct your money toward assets. Buy rental properties that generate cash flow. Invest in stocks or businesses that pay dividends or profits. Build intellectual property or create products that earn royalties. These things multiply your money instead of eating it up. This shift in mindset isn't about deprivation. It's about understanding the true purpose of money. Money is a tool, and like any tool, you need to use it wisely. Buying status might feel good for a moment, but investing in assets builds real, lasting wealth. So the next time you feel the urge to splurge on something flashy, remind yourself that wealth is about what you own, not what you show off. Your goal is freedom, not flash. Focus on acquiring assets that work for you, and watch your financial situation grow stronger day by day. Remember, the path to wealth is paved by the things you own, not the things you flaunt. Choose wisely, and wealth will follow. Wealth is never an overnight story. It's a long game, and one of its most essential lessons is the power of delayed gratification. The difference between those who accumulate lasting wealth and those who struggle financially often comes down to one simple choice. Will you give in to the temptation of comfort now, or will you endure a little discomfort today for the sake of freedom tomorrow? Let me tell you, this principle is not just theory. It's something I learned firsthand. Early in my life, I faced the temptation to spend what little I earned on things that brought immediate pleasure, new clothes, a night out, small luxuries. But I noticed that while those moments felt good, they didn't build wealth. Instead, they often set me back. The real change came when I started thinking differently about money. Not as something to be spent immediately, but as a seed to be planted, watered, and allowed to grow. The philosophy here is straightforward. Wealth is built by those who understand that trading a little comfort today leads to massive freedom tomorrow. The millionaire mindset says, I will wait. I will sacrifice a bit now, so that later I will live life on my own terms. This isn't about denial or misery. It's about strategic patience. Here's a practical rule I follow, and I recommend you do the same. No luxury purchases until your investments can pay for them forever. What does that mean? It means you don't buy a luxury car or take extravagant vacations with your paycheck. Instead, you invest your money wisely, building streams of income that generate cash flow without you lifting a finger. Only when those income streams reliably cover your luxury expenses do you reward yourself. This rule changes your relationship with money. It shifts your focus from instant gratification to long-term freedom. You start to see every dollar as a soldier sent out to work for you, not just something to be spent. You develop discipline, the kind that millionaires have, which keeps you from falling into traps that keep you living paycheck to paycheck. When I first embraced this mindset, I was still struggling with small amounts of money, but I treated every dollar like it was a million. I delayed comfort, kept my expenses low, and invested consistently. It was tough sometimes, but the payoff was worth it. Freedom to live life on my terms, to choose how I spend my time, and to build something lasting. Remember, the pleasure of instant gratification fades quickly, but the freedom that comes from delayed gratification lasts a lifetime. This simple shift in thinking separates those who chase money from those who attract wealth. So, make the rule for yourself. Hold off on luxury purchases until your investments can pay for them forever. Live below your means now. Invest wisely and trust the process. Delayed gratification is not denial, it's the strategy that leads to true financial freedom. Embrace it, and you're already on your way to millionaire thinking. Building multiple income streams is one of the most powerful steps you can take toward financial freedom. When you rely on a single paycheck, you are placing all your eggs in one basket. Your financial security becomes dependent on one source, and if that source dries up, your entire livelihood is at risk. But when you create several streams of income, you build resilience, freedom, and ultimately wealth. This is not just theory. It's a lesson I learned through experience and observation. Early on, I realized that working hard for a single employer, while necessary at times, would never create lasting wealth. It was a trap, no matter how high my paycheck grew. The key to real freedom is to have money coming in even when you're not working, when you're sleeping, spending time with family, or pursuing your passions. The philosophy here is clear. One paycheck is a trap. Multiple streams are freedom. Each stream you build is like a new soldier in your financial army working for you day and night. Whether it's a side hustle that leverages your skills, dividends from stocks, rental income from real estate, or royalties from intellectual property, these sources add up. Together, they create a powerful cash flow that liberates you from the fear of losing a job or the pressure of trading your time for money. Here's a practical approach to building multiple income streams. Start small. Look around your life and skills and identify opportunities. Can you teach what you know? Can you invest in dividend-paying stocks? Can you rent out a room or buy a rental property? Can you create a digital product or service that sells online? The key is to begin now, even if it's modest. The process of building takes time, but consistent effort compounds, just like money in the bank. Don't underestimate the power of automation and passive income. Once a stream is set up, it can generate cash with minimal ongoing effort. Imagine waking up each morning to see money deposited in your account from things you set in motion months or years ago. That is the freedom you want, and it starts by taking action today. I once knew a man who was trapped in a single paycheck job, stressed about making ends meet. He started a small weekend side business selling handmade products online. It wasn't much at first, but over time, it grew into a substantial income stream. Eventually, he bought rental properties with his earnings, adding more income sources. Today, he's financially free, not because he earned a massive salary, but because he diversified his income. The lesson is simple. Don't put your financial future in one basket. Begin building multiple streams today. Each small stream adds stability and moves you closer to freedom. It's not about working harder in just one job. It's about working smarter across multiple avenues. Start now, be patient, and watch your streams grow. Freedom is not found in a paycheck. It's found in the flow of many. When it comes to building wealth, the way you think about time can make all the difference. The poor often plan for the immediate moment, Friday night's fun, next week's bills, or the paycheck-to-paycheck survival. But the wealthy understand that true financial freedom is not about short bursts of enjoyment. It's about a steady, long-term vision that spans years, even decades. This is why one of the most important shifts you can make is to think in decades, not days. The philosophy here is simple but profound. The poor plan for Friday night, the rich plan for 10 years from now. This means your financial decisions today should be guided by where you want to be in a decade, not by fleeting desires or immediate gratifications. Let me tell you, this mindset wasn't something I was born with, it's something I had to learn the hard way. Early in life, I was like many others, focused on the short term. I'd spend my money quickly, not thinking about the consequences. But as I matured, I realized that wealth isn't built overnight. It's the result of consistent, patient planning and disciplined action over a long period. Here's how you can start applying this principle today. First, write down your financial goals for 10 years from now. Don't be shy, aim high, and be specific. Whether it's owning your home outright, having $1 million saved, or creating multiple streams of passive income, define what success looks like for you in 2035. Once you have this vision, reverse engineer it. Break it down into smaller milestones. What do you need to save, invest, or earn each year? What skills do you need to build? What habits do you need to adopt? By turning a distant goal into actionable steps, you make the journey manageable and clear. This approach also changes how you handle money on a day-to-day basis. When you think long-term, that $5 coffee or impulse buy becomes a choice. Does this help me get closer to my 10-year goal, or does it pull me away? Suddenly, saving and investing aren't chores. They're powerful tools to create the future you want. I once worked with a young man who wanted quick results, but after guiding him to create a 10-year plan, he started to see the value in slow, steady progress. He saved diligently, invested wisely, and improved his skills consistently. 10 years later, he wasn't just financially secure, he was free. It all started with a vision and the discipline to act today for a future reward. Thinking in decades also helps you weather the storms. Life will have ups and downs, but if your focus is long-term, temporary setbacks won't derail your journey. They become lessons, small detours on the road to success. Remember, your financial destiny isn't shaped by a single paycheck or one decision. It's the sum of your daily actions over years. When you start thinking in decades, you'll stop chasing quick wins and start building lasting wealth. Begin today by writing your 10-year financial vision. Then take the first step, no matter how small, toward that future. Because wealth built over decades is wealth that lasts a lifetime. When it comes to financial success, focusing solely on your paycheck is like trying to navigate the ocean by looking at a single wave. You miss the bigger picture. The real measure of your wealth is not how much money flows into your bank account each month, but how much you actually own after subtracting what you owe. This is your net worth, and tracking it is one of the most powerful habits you can develop on your journey to financial freedom. Think about it. You might earn a good salary, but if your debts and liabilities grow faster than your assets, your financial situation is actually moving backward. Conversely, someone earning less can be far wealthier if they build assets and reduce debts consistently. This is why the philosophy is simple but often overlooked. What you own matters more than what you earn. Let me share a story from my own experience. Early in my career, I focused too much on increasing income. I chased raises, bonuses, and commissions, believing that more money meant more wealth. But I soon realized that without managing what I had, and without understanding the full picture of my financial health, my efforts were limited. The turning point came when I started tracking my net worth meticulously, listing every asset like cash, investments, property, and subtracting every debt such as loans, credit card balances, and mortgages. This gave me clarity and focus. The practical step is straightforward. Once a month, sit down and write down all your assets and liabilities. Be honest and thorough. Don't just estimate. Check your bank statements, investment accounts, loan balances, and anything else that impacts your financial picture. The goal is to see your net worth number and watch how it moves over time. If the gap between what you own and what you owe is growing wider, congratulations, you're building wealth. If it's shrinking, then it's time to adjust your habits. Maybe you need to reduce expenses, pay down high-interest debt, or increase your savings and investments. This practice transforms your relationship with money. Instead of living paycheck to paycheck, you begin to think like an owner and investor. It shifts your focus from short-term income to long-term wealth creation. A friend of mine once told me, "I never knew how much I owed until I started tracking." That awareness alone sparked a plan to reduce debts and build assets. 6 years later, he's financially independent because he knew exactly where he stood at all times. Tracking your net worth also gives you motivation. Watching that number climb is a powerful reward that keeps you disciplined. It's a scoreboard of your financial journey and a compass to guide your decisions. Remember, wealth isn't a mystery. It's the sum of your assets minus your liabilities. And the only way to know if you're moving forward or backward is to track it regularly. Make it a non-negotiable habit. Take control of your financial destiny by measuring what matters most, your net worth. Because when you know exactly where you stand, you can chart a clear path to where you want to go. Money is much like an army, and every dollar is a soldier standing ready to serve a purpose. When you treat your dollars as mere tools, giving each one a specific job to do, you begin to build an unstoppable force working on your behalf. But when dollars are left to roam free, spending themselves on impulse buys or wasted on distractions, they become casualties in the battle for your financial freedom. I remember a time when I used to treat money carelessly, thinking that as long as I had some coming in, it didn't matter how it was spent. That mindset led to missed opportunities and stagnant growth. But the moment I began to view each dollar as a soldier with a mission, my entire financial life changed. The philosophy here is simple. Money needs direction. Just like a commander sends troops with specific orders, you must assign every dollar a role. This means before you spend a single cent, decide where it's going to go. Will it save you? Will it invest and grow over time? Will it help build your business or increase your skill set? Each dollar should have a purpose, working diligently to expand your wealth, not shrink it. A practical step I recommend is to create a money plan, a budget, but more strategic. Allocate your income into categories or jobs. For example, 20% to savings, 10% to investments, 5% to education, and a reasonable portion for daily living expenses. When you physically assign your money to these buckets, it becomes harder to spend recklessly. One of the most powerful habits I developed was automating this process. I set up automatic transfers from my checking account to my savings and investment accounts. This automation made sure the soldiers were always marching toward building my future, not getting lost in unnecessary spending. Consider the power of compound interest in your investments. Dollars that are assigned to investments don't just sit, they grow, earning returns that generate even more money. Like reinforcements arriving to support the army, those returns accelerate your wealth building. On the other hand, dollars that are carelessly spent, especially on fleeting pleasures or status symbols, weaken your forces. They drain resources without strengthening your position. Every dollar spent without purpose is a missed opportunity to build your fortress of financial freedom. By treating money as soldiers on a mission, you also develop discipline and clarity. You stop wondering where your money went at the end of the month because you already know where each dollar was sent and what it was meant to accomplish. This mindset also changes your attitude towards spending. It becomes a deliberate choice rather than an impulsive habit. You begin to weigh every purchase against your larger goals. Does this dollar's mission align with building my future, or is it just a distraction? When you put your money to work this way, it becomes a loyal army that fights for your freedom. It fights to pay off debts, to generate passive income, to secure your family's future, and to create opportunities you never dreamed possible. This philosophy can turn the tide for anyone stuck in a cycle of living paycheck to paycheck. When you command your dollars with purpose, you create financial momentum. The small daily victories of money, assigned well build into a powerful legacy over time. Remember, your dollars are your troops. If you want to win the war of wealth, send each soldier with a clear mission and watch your financial life transform. There's a fundamental difference between working for money and having your money work for you. Wages, as important as they are, only feed you day by day. They provide immediate income, but they come with a ceiling because your time is limited. Ownership, on the other hand, frees you. It's the difference between trading hours for dollars and building something that earns whether you're awake, asleep, or enjoying your life. Early in my journey, I noticed this truth clearly. I was working hard, but the more hours I put in, the more capped my income felt. It was like running on a treadmill. You're exerting energy, but not gaining much ground. The turning point came when I shifted my focus from simply working harder to owning parts of businesses, assets, or stocks that could generate profits without my constant input. The philosophy is that true wealth comes from ownership. When you own a piece of something valuable, a business, real estate, stocks, you tap into income streams that don't require your active labor every hour. This ownership creates leverage, allowing you to multiply your earnings far beyond what your paycheck alone can provide. To put this into practice, start by learning about opportunities to own. This could be buying shares in the stock market, starting your own business, or investing in rental properties. Each of these paths allows you to participate in growth and profits over time. For example, owning stock means you are part owner of a company, and as the company grows and profits, so does your investment. You don't have to clock in each day to earn those dividends or see your shares increase in value. Similarly, owning a business can generate profits even when you're not there, especially if you build a solid team and systems. The practical step is to gradually shift from being purely an employee to becoming an owner. That doesn't mean quitting your job immediately. Instead, start small, buy a few shares, create a side hustle, or partner with someone on a business idea. The key is to put yourself in a position where your income isn't just tied to your effort. Over time, this approach builds wealth in a way that frees you from the limitations of trading time for money. Ownership creates financial independence and opens doors for opportunities that a paycheck alone can never unlock. Remember, working hard is important, but owning smart is what builds lasting wealth. Don't just work for money, own a piece of the pie, and let your money work for you. Money speaks its own language, a language that most people never take the time to learn. They treat money like a stranger, something mysterious and confusing. But if you want to build wealth, you must become fluent in this language. It's not just about earning, it's about understanding how money works, how it moves, and how it grows. When you learn the rules money plays by, you step out of the crowd and into a league of your own. Most people stay broke, not because they don't want to be rich, but because they don't take the time to understand the system that governs money. Taxes, investments, interest, compounding. These are not just financial jargon. They are the keys to unlocking your financial future. Ignorance about them keeps you trapped, while knowledge sets you free. In my own journey, I remember when I first began studying the principles behind wealth. I realized that without this knowledge, no matter how hard I worked, I would always be at the mercy of circumstances I couldn't control. Once I understood tax strategies, investment principles, and how compound interest multiplies money over time, I could make decisions that accelerated my path to wealth. The practical step is simple but powerful. Commit to financial literacy. Dedicate time each week to reading books, listening to seminars, or studying reputable financial sources. Learn how taxes affect your income and investments. Discover the power of compound interest and understand how markets operate. This knowledge becomes your secret weapon. Consider taxes, not as a burden, but as a system you can navigate smartly. Understanding deductions, credits, and tax-advantaged accounts can save you thousands of dollars. Learning about investing lets you put your money to work, earning more while you sleep. Grasping compounding shows you that wealth grows quietly and steadily, like a tree starting from a seed. When you speak the language of money, you stop being a passive participant and become an active creator of your financial future. You begin to see opportunities where others see risk and solutions where others see problems. Wealth is not a mystery. It's a language waiting to be learned. Become fluent and watch how your financial life transforms. The rich don't get lucky, they get educated. Make learning the language of money your daily practice and watch your wealth multiply. It's one of the quiet traps that snatches away the potential for wealth from so many people, the temptation to upgrade your lifestyle the moment your income rises. This behavior, common and natural as it seems, is the fastest way to keep your bank account empty no matter how much money you make. The philosophy is simple but profound. Wealth grows when you lock your lifestyle, not when you inflate it with every raise. When I first stepped into the world of financial growth, I learned that every raise, bonus, or increase in income is not an invitation to spend more, but an opportunity to invest more. The challenge is to live on what you used to make, even if your paycheck grows. Keep your expenses steady for at least a year and funnel that additional income into savings, investments, or your business. This discipline creates a powerful habit that builds wealth quietly and steadily. Imagine your income going up, but your spending staying flat. The difference isn't wasted, it's transformed into the seeds of financial freedom. This extra money compounds over time, building assets that work for you rather than liabilities that work against you. It's easy to fall into the mindset of, I deserve this, or I've earned this upgrade. But ask yourself, will this purchase build your freedom or just buy you temporary comfort? Wealth is less about how much you earn and more about what you keep and how you grow it. During my own journey, I saw many around me who earned big salaries but never accumulated wealth because their lifestyle kept pace with or outpaced their earnings. Meanwhile, those who disciplined themselves to lock their lifestyle and invest the raises quietly grew their net worth. It's not flashy, but it's effective. So here's the practical step. When your income increases, resist the urge to spend more. Keep your current standard of living and invest the difference. Do this consistently, and over time, you'll create a cushion of wealth that gives you freedom and options. That's the real power of keeping your lifestyle locked while your income rises. Your raise isn't an excuse to spend, it's a chance to build. Make the choice to live below your means and watch your financial future transform. Wealth is grown, not given. As we come to the close of this journey together, remember this. Wealth is not a product of luck or chance. It is the outcome of deliberate choices, disciplined actions, and a mindset that values growth over comfort. What separates those who struggle paycheck to paycheck from those who build lasting freedom is not just income, but how they think and act about money. You've learned today that building wealth means more than earning. It means owning, saving first, investing wisely, and most importantly, mastering your mindset. Small daily habits like saving before spending, tracking your net worth, and resisting lifestyle inflation compound into extraordinary results over time. Wealth grows quietly, steadily, and with patience. Now, the path forward is clear, but requires your commitment. I challenge you to take immediate action. Start tracking your finances honestly. Create a simple budget that prioritizes saving and investing, and set clear standards for your money, not just goals. Embrace the idea that every dollar is a soldier that must be assigned a mission. Build habits that serve your future self. Surround yourself with knowledge and mentors who have walked the path. Read, learn, and grow every day because your mind is your greatest asset in attracting wealth. Your future freedom depends on the choices you make right now. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It doesn't exist. Begin today, think long-term, and act with discipline. The rich aren't just lucky, they are deliberate. So, decide now. Will you chase money or chase value? Will you live for today's pleasures or tomorrow's freedoms? The power to change your financial destiny lies in your hands. Act on what you've learned and step into the life of wealth and freedom you deserve.